Welcome to the review. So we met with a client last year, actually, just to help them get the ducks in a row so they can be prepared to buy a home here in 2020. So this past week, we did a follow-up. They're getting everything ready. So with this particular spouse and couple, we had a strong profile and we had a weak profile. So the profiles look like this. You had one spouse that made $54,000 in gross income. All right, the credit score was a 671, which is very good. They had a $450 a month car note. They also had $170 worth of credit card payments. They did have student loan debt of $37,000, which it was in deferment, so they really wasn't counting that. But after we sat down, we had to let them know that we have to use 1% of that total balance since it is in deferment. So we had to use $370 toward the monthly obligations, which brought the total up to $980 a month. All right, so being that the credit score was at a 671, we're able to use 55% of their gross income using FHA standards. So it allowed us to use $2,475 toward their buying capacity with that gross income. So after we subtracted the monthly obligation, it brought us down to $1,485, which allows them to purchase a $230,000 home. The only problem is their goal is they want a $250,000 home. All right. No problem in this scenario. They figured they just add the other spouse onto the loan to help their buying capacity. The other spouse, which is considered the weaker profile, because the other spouse makes $28,000 a year in gross income. Their credit score, however, is at a 582, which that is what makes the profile a weaker profile. The credit score is just above the FHA limits of 580, but it only allows them to use 45% of their total income. Being that the other spouse credit score is at a 671, that's really null and void once you add them to the mortgage, because the lender is going to use the weaker profile. Okay, so now even though they have a combined income of $82,000, they're only able to use 45% of that gross income. Now, after you add them together, but you add in both profiles' debt, it actually brings their buying capacity down to $1,390 a month, which only allows them to buy $215,000 worth of house. So in this scenario, of course, I had to go over some details for them, help them understand that just because it's more income does not really make a difference in this particular scenario, because the lenders look at different aspects of the profile and not just the income. Okay, you can't take the income and not use the credit, and you can't take the income and not apply the debt. All right, so they have to use the income, debt, and credit. And so this particular profile, they had student loan debt as well, which they wasn't calculating. So we had to use 1% of that debt, which they only had $32,000. So that ended up being $320 of monthly debt that they had considered that they wasn't considering before. So with this particular scenario, I recommended that the spouse with the weaker profile, which in this particular scenario they had more savings, I recommended that spouse gift those funds over to the spouse with the stronger profile to allow them to pay off some of the credit card debt, to be able to maximize the buying capacity by $170, which that was their monthly credit card obligation, $170. So they're able to maximize the buying capacity, increasing it from that $1,485 to $1,655. Now with this strategic move, it allowed them to purchase or increase their buying capacity from $230 to actually $257,000, meaning they could buy a house. The mortgage payments will be around $1,655, but they can afford up to $257,000 worth of home now. And this actually helped them reach their goal. So just going over the details of it, I just want to clarify that when we're doing a buyer's consultation, buyer consultation is more in depth. It's not just what type of home you like, how many bedrooms, what area. We really get down into the fundamentals of the finances and make sure we maximize our buying capacity. Not always maximizing. We're helping you accomplish your goals of what your buying capacity could be with your current scenario. Sometimes we just have to organize the finances, and sometimes we get into, we get the wrong instructions or directions, and we go and we start paying off things that really is not going to help us. So the buyer consultation is really just to help us align, organize our finances, and then once we get to where we want to be financially, and then we go over the details of the house, we go over the area that matches our buying capacity. So guys, if you're out there, you want 2020 to be the year that you take that initial step to become a homeowner, the first step is just scheduling a buyer's consultation that sort of line these ducks, get these ducks in a row for you. And so therefore, at least by the end of 2020, you can accomplish your goals of a home ownership. It doesn't take all year, but it does take the right direction. All right. I met with these clients last year and about 8 months ago. And so 8 months of working on their credit, savings, getting some things organized, getting some things removed from their credit. But needless to say, we're here now, and they have an option that we're working on now. We're just waiting on the credit card statement update. But we'll definitely be working towards getting them in their house pretty soon. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to be in your home here in 2020, reach out to us. Click the link in the bio. Go ahead and schedule your buyer's consultation. You can contact us on the number in the bio, or you can send a direct message to me. Myself or somebody will be in contact with you shortly. But outside of that, you guys have a blessed weekend. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you this week.